All right, so this is what a lot of us been waiting on. 2023-24 NFL schedule. The Titans missed the playoffs this year. Came down to Josh Dobbs' last drive. The incomplete pass that was ruled a fumble. Would have been a third straight division title. But nevertheless, missed the playoffs. So good thing for this year's roster is you don't play a playoff schedule. So the schedule should be easier. Start off with the Bears, the Vikings, and the New England Patriots. Preseason games, we get to see some of the rookies, see how they fare out. Last year, we got to see the first glimpse of Malik Willis and some of the players last year that came out of last year's draft. But, honestly, I'm optimistic about this schedule. I know it starts off kind of rough, but I don't like to look at games and say this is a win and this is a loss. And I'm going to tell you why. As a Tennessee Titan fan, and if y'all been fans of the Tennessee Titans, we win games we're not supposed to win, and we lose games we're not supposed to lose. So you have to blindly look at it and just say, like, what Tennessee Titan team will show up. So I'm going to say what I think is a winnable game, and I'm going to say what's a game that I'm going to be like, this game is tough. I look at this schedule and I see 10 wins, which means the Tennessee Titans would be on the fringe of being in the playoffs. So let's go through these games, starting with the New Orleans Saints. At the Saints, that's a winnable game. I know people are excited about Derek Carr, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of moving parts coming into the Saints. And this ain't your daddy's Saints with Sean Payton. These are the new Saints with an aging Michael Thomas, a really good defense, and no Alvin Kamara. So I'm going to say that's a winnable game. The Los Angeles Chargers, a team that we lost on a last second field goal, Dicker the kicker. Backup defensive backs got turned around. We got dunked on at the end of the game. And there's a field goal. We lost 14-17, which was a tough loss for us because I feel like we should have had that game. It's a home game for us. Chargers come to our place. That's a winnable game. Cleveland Browns. Who knows what football shape Deshaun Watson is in year 2. Will he go back to the old Texans Deshaun Watson that gave us so many problems, him and Hopkins? Or is his best football behind him? I'm going to hope for his sake that it isn't, but I think this is a winnable game. The Bengals. The Bengals have had our number. I think Joe Burrow is at the top of the charts, right behind Patrick Mahomes when it comes to one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's a tough game. Whether it's home or away, it don't matter. It could be played on Mars. I think that's a tough game for us. The Indianapolis Colts with Anthony Richardson, 5 games in. How does he look? How has the team gelled around him? That's a winnable game for us. Baltimore Ravens in London. If this game was in the United States, I would say this is probably the toughest game on the schedule next to the Bengals game. But I'm going to say in London, things could get wacky. Lamar Jackson overseas. We've been a big rivalry between us and them. I think that's just going to be a dogfight of a game. That game could go either way. But, the Ravens, that's one of the ones I'll put under the name of tough one. Then we got a bye. Hopefully at this point, we're talking about coming off the bye. We love to be undefeated, but realistically, this is a situation where I see 4-2, middle of the road 3-3, and if we just implode and we're down to 2 wins, things could get ugly in Nashville. Coming off the bye, we got Atlanta. Atlanta's an up and coming young team. I think that's a tough game coming off a bye week, but a game that should be very winnable. Not knowing what they got at quarterback with Ritter and Heinke. Who knows who'll be playing quarterback for them by that time. Pittsburgh Steelers, definitely always tough when we play Pittsburgh. But I think Kenny Pickett, year 2, this should be a winnable game. Should be a game that we should look at and say, like, this game shouldn't be harder than what we make it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, no Tom Brady. That should be a winnable game. But it's, every game I respect the opponent, and I say like Tampa Bay could be the team that everybody says, oh, Brady's gone, and they get hot next year. Jacksonville Jaguars, division rival, always going to be a tough game. It doesn't matter whose roster is what, it's always going to be a tough game. Carolina Panthers, it's going to be interesting to see where another young rookie, Bryce Young, is at by the time we roll around there. Like, how well are they playing? They got a lot of new additions. I think that'll be a tough game. All these out of conference games, teams that have a lot of new players on it. Indianapolis Colts, another division rival. This will be the second time we play them. Regardless of who won that first game, this game will be tough. Anytime we load up against the Colts. Now we've fared pretty good against the Colts as of late, but it still is a division rival. They had a lot of good players they added in the draft in the offseason. So who knows? I just know it'll be a tough game. The Miami Dolphins. Will Tua be healthy? Will Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle be healthy? They had a lot of new pieces on the defense. Jalen Ramsey. They had a short draft because of the coaching situation last year. But who knows? Miami's always a wild card team. A team that can score, an athletic team. Should be a winnable game in our book, though. The Houston Texans, a team who was dead in the water last year and wind up throwing a stick in the spokes for us. New head coach, new regime, D'Amico Ryans, CJ Stroud, the quarterback that we were going to trade up and get. Wow. The fact that we play them and then play the Seahawks and then play them again, I think both of those Texans games will be tough, but we should look at it as these are all winnable games. The Seahawks, we had played them tough the year we had Julio and AJ. I think AJ was out that game, but Ola Adeniyi gets the safety at the end of the game against Russell Wilson. That's going to be a tough game. The Seahawks are going to run the ball. They're going to have physical defense, but it's going to be a home game for us. We played them away last time. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Oh my goodness, like that. But see, these are exciting games, and I don't want to look at this schedule and say like it's a win, it's a loss. I'm gonna be excited to see these teams because a lot of these teams have a lot of new players. Like I said, Houston again, playing Houston 2 times in 3 weeks. I feel like people are gonna be getting carted off the field in these games. These division rivals is gonna be coming down to the end of the season. Having 3 out of the last 4 games being division games are going to be important no matter how well or bad we do. We still can write our own future, however the season goes in those last 4 weeks. And then ending with the Jacksonville Jaguars, how we've done so many times last year. The strips, the incomplete pass that was a fumble. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Doug Peterson, we knew was going to come in after Urban Meyer and put together a team that's going to compete, a team that came back from out of no man's land to beat the Chargers in the playoffs and get that playoff win. A very confident team. Trevor Lawrence, Calvin really come back. How is he going to look? It's going to be the end of the season, and I expect that by the time we get to Jacksonville, this should be a game that should be being played for the division or a very playoff implicated game. Like when we look at the AFC South, look at a bunch of young teams, a bunch of young quarterbacks, a bunch of new players, new head coaches, new management, and who's going to be the team that puts it together? Last year was Jacksonville. We fell 1 game short. The Colts tanked it after Matt Ryan. I don't expect them to be as bad as they was last year. And then the Texans are definitely going to improve, getting John Mechie back this year. Robert Woods leaving Tennessee and going over. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these new teams pan out. What do y'all think the win-loss ratio for the Tennessee Titans will be next season? I feel like 10 wins with this schedule should be attainable. That would put us right in the thick of things to win the division and take the division crown back. And the ultimate goal for any team is to make the postseason. Ryan Tannehill, QB1. This is his chance to go out to rally the troops. One last hurrah. Maybe he can pull a Jimmy G like he did in the 49ers after they drafted Trey Lance and take this team and lead this team to a double-digit win season after being 7-3 last year and having everything implode the last 8 weeks and not winning 0 out of 7 last games to make the playoffs. Hopefully this season might and right the ship and get the Tennessee Titans back on track. If your team's schedule has dropped, let me know what you think your team's record will be, or you don't have to necessarily pick the wins and losses exactly in the games, because it'll never pan out the way any of us think it will be. But let me know what y'all think. Daily uploads, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Live streams 2 times a day. Pin link, comment down below. Check the link tree out. Shop by Buddha on all platforms, and we out.